We're listening to her. Why, my sister? We're listening to Kamala Harris. Why? I understand you don't want to listen to Trump. Why should we listen to her?
No, you won't let me finish.
Well, you ain't gave me an answer yet.
Yeah, but still, you beating the sister up. I apologize, Cynthia. He coming kind of hard on you, but and I think you seem to be so negative towards Kamala.
Exact words, I am quoting her. We are not going to do anything just for black people.
So it looks like she was talking. I mean, see, Dr. Umar, you were talking about not as being emotional, but it looks like
you're defending white supremacy. You're defending white supremacy, and you ain't giving me one reason why we should vote for her yet.
It seems like you're being anti-black.
I'm being anti-black by not voting for a woman who's anti-black. Please explain that.
I don't know how.
Good afternoon.
What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Mary, and I'm calling from Jersey.
Hey, Jersey.
And I'm sick of listening to Umar. Umar, let's talk. Okay? First and foremost.
As Dr. Umar, it's the Dr. Umar.
Well, then act like a doctor and stop criticizing everybody. Bottom line, people who
non-emotional, strategic thinking.
Hater. You are a black woman.
You're emotional, my sister. We can't win being emotional.
Dude, you criticize everybody.
Yes.
Hey, there we are. Dr. Umar Johnson. How you doing today, brother? Can you hear me, Dr. Johnson?
Can you hear me, Bob?
Oh, yes. Now I can hear you. Can you hear us? Oh, let me see. It looked like my mic it looked like mine is on mute. Wait a minute, let me see.
Oh, okay.
It looked like I got a red button on mine. Let me see if I can. Okay, now you hear.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, Baba Day?
Absolutely.
All right. I'm live and direct from Eastern Michigan University, Ypsilanti, Michigan, about 30 minutes from Detroit, where I keynoted the Black Consciousness Conference yesterday and the day before.
Okay. What was your message?
My message was solidarity. My message was don't be emotionally co-opted by either presidential candidate. It is not enough to vote for Donald Trump because he is talking about doing something economically for African people. Let us remind ourselves that while he was president for 4 years, he did very little, if anything at all, economically for African people. He didn't start talking about a platinum package until it was time to run again for a second term against then former Vice President Joe Biden. And so now he's talking about economics, but you had 4 years in office. At the conclusion of the George Floyd protest for justice, Donald Trump passed the historic Hispanic Prosperity Initiative. Why are you passing a Hispanic Prosperity Initiative at the end of the George Floyd protest? Where was the American African Prosperity Initiative? And on the other side of the aisle, with our Asian American, South Asian American, occasionally black candidate Kamala Harris, she sat in the White House with President Biden for 4 years and watched him pass an anti-Asian hate bill. She watched him pass an anti-transgender hate bill. She watched him give billions of dollars to Ukraine and Afghanistan. She watched him purge and gentrify black people out of Chicago and New York, among other cities, because we now know that there are migrant crises growing in other cities. And she did nothing. And this is after she said on an interview that she can't do anything just for black people. Well, if you can't do anything just for black people, Vice President Harris, how was it possible? Excuse me, how is it possible for you guys to do something just for gays, just for Asians, just for Native Americans, just for migrants? Complete contradiction. And so for me, at this point right now, with 3 months to go until the November 5th election, Baba David, I don't have a reason to vote for either of them.
Okay, but well, who you would not you won't vote for either, but a no vote for her, isn't that like a vote for him?
I completely disagree, because even if a no vote is a no vote, it doesn't go to either candidate. Now, if no vote went to Donald Trump, then I could understand the mathematical assessment. But a no vote is a no vote. So it doesn't go.
I'm thinking about mathematically. Let's say we have 7 million voters. 350 million want to vote for Donald Trump, but
Yes.
250 million say, well, I'm not going to vote at all. So that 350 million would still go to him, and the other votes would not even be counted. And that's what I meant by a no vote is a vote for him. But then we take away, somebody else going to vote for him.
I hear what you question. Here's my question. Here's my question, Baba.
Yes.
Whether a no vote for Kamala Harris goes to former President Trump or not, here's my question to the American African community. What have we been promised from Vice President Kamala Harris that would require us to vote? What have we been promised from former President Trump that would require us to vote? What I see going on, Baba David, is I am seeing dysfunctional identity politics where black people, many of whom claim that mixed race Africans are not black, but the same Negroes who will say that mixed race Africans are not black will call Kamala Harris black. So make up your mind. And she's not even 50%. She don't have a black parent. She has a mixed race parent.
First of all, I want to say.
Hold on, Baba.
Okay,
she has a mixed race parent.
Okay.
Her father is half Jamaican African. Mm-hmm. She is a quadroon. She is 1/4 black. Here's the point that I'm making. For those who are into identity politics, she doesn't meet the criteria of being black by many of their standards. So I'm hearing black people say I'm going to vote for her just because she's black. But according to many American Africans' definition of being black, because many of us reject mixed race, I don't. I'm a Pan-Africanist, I don't. But many of them reject mixed race Africans, but they're qualifying Kamala Harris because they need to believe in her so badly. Here's my last point, Baba David. There's been 14 presidential elections since Dr. King's assassination. 14 presidential election cycles since 1968. Can you please name the one that benefited black people? And if we cannot name the election cycle out of the past 14 presidential elections since Dr. King's assassination, if we can't name the presidential administration that changed something systemically for the American African people, why then are we emotionally rallying our people up to be exploited once again?
Hey, we didn't lose you, did we?
No, it's frozen.
Okay, well, we got to take a break. But I don't know if he's frozen, if he can hear me or not. So let me take the break.
Yeah.
And come back, and hopefully he'll be back with
I can hear you.
Okay, before we take a break, I wanted to say that people talk about, well, she ain't 100% black. I thought, what happened to the one drop of black blood? And I also wanted to say, Bob Marley had a white father. So does that mean that he's not black?
I will come back to that.
Bob Marley was an African, Baba. He had a black mother. Kamala Harris doesn't have a black mother. She has a mixed race father.
Oh, so it's the
she is not mixed race.
It's the female lineage.
The quadroon.
So it's the
quadroon
female.
is 1/4.
Okay, we gotta take a break.
For me, it don't matter. Okay, Bob.
Okay, we gotta take a break. When we come back, I don't know why I got this echo. Can we do something about that, Nicholas?
Well, we're gonna take a break and see what we can do when we get back. David Barnes, photo man for you too, and I'm your host on this Dr. Umar E5 Tunde Johnson edition of New World View. So, Dr. Johnson, I hear my echo is gone. Nicholas told me what I needed to do, and now I can hear you clear, and I would hear myself twice. So, what I wanted to say is, and Patrick had a question for you as well. Do you believe in voting or just not voting for president?
I believe in voting when I have a reason to vote.
Okay, that's good.
That my vote is so important and valuable to me, I do not waste it. Mm-hmm. I don't vote because I can. Mm-hmm. I would liken that to walking into a supermarket and buying stuff just because you have money. Who walks into a Galleria mall and starts buying things just because they have a credit card, just because they have a checkbook, just because they have money? I think we would call that the definition of insanity.
Or
but telling black people just because they can, to me, is ridiculousness. And we also have to keep in mind as well, Baba David, that the main strategy used to influence black people to vote is fear. That is how they get black people out to vote. The number one propaganda point that you hear being pushed by the Democratic Party plantation slaves is if you don't vote for Kamala Harris, Trump will win. That's not a reason to vote. I'm going to vote because Kamala Harris has promised to build industries in the black community that is going to give our people jobs so our young men can stop killing each other in the name of crime and financial desperation. I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris because she's going to pass legislation to deal with the femicide in our black community. Everything from sexual trafficking, everything to the brutality and slaughter of defenseless black women, to the amount of black women who are dying while they're trying to give birth to their children, okay, as well as the high infant mortality rate, which is one of the highest in the developed world. I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris because she promises to radically transform and reconstruct the special education to prison pipeline. In other words, I will gladly cast the vote for Kamala Harris, or I will gladly cast the vote for former President Trump if they give me some food on my plate. But to ask me to sit down and give me a fork and a spoon and act like I'm enjoying a meal when there's no food on my plate is absolutely insanity. Give me a reason to vote. I do not vote because I can, and I will not vote out of fear.
But also, as you mentioned about the strategy and the plan, the propaganda, I would be one to believe that part of the propaganda would be to try to convince black people, don't come out and vote, just stay home and vote. It ain't going to do you no good. And then a lot of black people will follow that propaganda and won't come out and vote. I believe the turnout numbers are already so low.
Bobby David, we got to go back to the point. But Bobby David, what are they voting for? You still haven't given me a reason. What are they voting for Kamala Harris for? You understand what I'm saying? You can't just say vote for her, because we don't like Trump. That's fair politics. Mm-hmm. That's fair politics. What has Joe Biden did for black people?
What has any of them done? Ain't none of them done nothing.
Obama do for black people?
Nothing. None of them done nothing for us. None of them have done anything for us, and that is why I say.
Thank you. So why are we voting then?
Because
if we've had 14 presidential cycles, Baba David,
right.
and the past 57 years.
That's right.
14 presidential elections in 57 years, and nobody can tell me one systemic change that we've gotten from the red team or the blue team.
Because
what we got to understand is the left wing and the right wing, the red wing and the blue wing are still parts of the same bird that is doing all over Black America.
but still, if you look at it, if the turnout is only minimal, 20% turnout, somebody's going to win the election. So if we stay home, somebody's going to win. And if they convince them with their propaganda,
but do we win, Baba David? But do we win, Baba David?
Okay. If that's the case, if we don't come out, we certainly can't win.
Will win. No.
Dr. Umar.
You're rationalizing your position by taking the negative. I'm asking you to rationalize your position by taking the positive.
Dr. Umar.
Black America gain by voting for either candidate.
What
do we gain?
If I'm trying to explain,
stop using fear mongering.
I'm not scared. I'm trying to legitimize my position. What I'm saying is that if we came out in numbers, we could elect whoever we wanted. When I was at WHAT, we were running a couple of African candidates right here in Philadelphia. Harry Masala, who is Ethiopian, and we was running Dr. Ulu Fadiyedi. He was running for judge. We thought that we had such a strong voice in the black community on WHAT. We just knew we went over there. But the black people didn't come out and vote, and the white people came out and voted for their candidate, and our candidate lost. So it's my position that if instead of trying to tell people they don't need to come out and vote, I'm trying to tell people if all of us came out and voted, then we could get what we wanted.
Baba David, what was your candidate promising black people, or was this simply another useless identity vote because the candidate was black?
I would agree with that, because as I often say, we make no demands. We make no demands on the politicians.
Identity politics. I do not vote because people are black.
I don't either.
I do not vote because people are black. I vote because they're going to do something for my community.
Dr. Umar.
Yes, Patrick.
Dr. Umar, how are you doing?
All is well, my brother.
Man, it's been a long time, bro.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes,
So
sir.
looking at the, hypothetically, right? Who is the best devil that you can actually cast your vote for? Looking at,
I do not engage in the lesser of the two evils narrative.
So-
I
so-
do not entertain.
so how
For
do-
me,
how do we
evil is
participate?
evil. It does not come in degrees.
how do we participate?
Evil is evil.
How do we participate in the election, or how do we participate in what affects?
I tell you what we should do. It was a very slow. I tell you what we should do. We have 3 months. 3 months.
Yes.
What black people should do right now is organize ourselves into a powerful,
There you go.
all black
There you go.
national union. Our votes should be tied together with all of our mutual consent, and we must pledge to one another that we're voting one way.
Okay.
The black vote will be treated like a single vote.
Gotcha.
And we put Republican National Committee
Yes.
and the Democratic National Committee.
Yes.
And we demand an audience with both candidates, our own convention, because we are not Republicans or Democrats. We are Africans.
Yes.
They will come and give us an audience in our community.
There you go.
And we will ask the questions that are relevant.
Yes.
And that
I would agree with that.
Former
Yes.
President Trump. We will,
I will too.
I would agree with that.
we
but-
will argue, we will reason, and we will choose a candidate, and that candidate will get every single black vote who has joined our national black political union, and we will promise them
Yes.
before November 5th,
Yes, Dr.
you are
Omar.
going to win because of black people. And if you do not deliver, will not get a single vote the next election.
Yeah.
That is how you do business. Not telling black people to vote out of fear, not telling black people to vote out of identity politics, not telling black people to vote because they
I wish that we could pull something together like that in this next 3 months. We should have pulled that together the last 3 years. Last 300 years, we should have been doing that. But I don't know if we're going to be able to do that in 3 months. I think that if we did that, we could make a lot more demands on any politician on any level.
Nothing is impossible with the Most High.
I agree.
No,
Totally.
Robert David is
I agree.
impossible with the Most High. Don't
I
say we
totally
can't
agree.
do it.
Okay.
Don't say we can't do it. Yes, we can do it.
Dr.
Yes,
Omar.
we can.
Dr. Omar, you see the statement you just made really is the option that I agree with better than not voting at all, because the issue that I have is that we do not have a bargaining chip as black people. We don't have a platform. There's one thing talking about it, but there's another thing
Yes, we
actually
do.
organizing ourselves. Because what you say right now, it needs some leadership within the black community to reorganize ourselves and create a platform and a bargaining chip to actually move our vote to not only black candidate, but anybody who actually speaks our voice.
Well, you know, Dr. Umar, I
Yes.
use your analogy. I think it may have been even last week that you say that Philadelphia is the fastest growing and the #1 gentrified city in the whole country. And I'm saying to myself, the community in which I live in, every time I look around, I see other people walking around in my neighborhood, and it's more and more and more and more and more of them. And I'm saying to myself, pretty soon they're going to be the majority in my neighborhood. And when it comes time to get whatever scarce resources are available through the city, they will vote for what they want. They will press their politicians to do their bidding. And while we stay home and don't vote and don't participate, we'll be sitting by and saying, what happened? We don't got no more power. I don't know what happened.
Keep overlooking the point, Baba, that black people don't have nothing to vote for. What is Kamala? Those very same immigrants, Baba David, that are flooding your neighborhoods. Who's bringing them there? The Democratic Party, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris. Who is bringing the migrants into New York, Chicago, and I soon hear Philadelphia? Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the Democratic Party. So on the one hand, you say vote for Kamala Harris, but you just gave me a reason why she's causing problems for black people.
We got to go to the phone line. I know a lot of people want to talk about this. We'll go to the phone lines and talk to, is that okay? Brother, okay.
Yes,
how
sir.
you doing today? Brother, okay, in Delaware. How you doing today?
No, this is Brother Bahoke. I was calling you from Delaware County. We spoke before. Dr. Umar knows me. How you doing, Doc?
Peace and Pan-Africanism, my brother.
How you doing? Okay. The reason I'm calling is because of this. I don't have a dog in any race with this particular election, and we've had this problem before when Barack Obama was running, and everybody was saying, well, he's black, even though he got a white mother, but they didn't bother to look at what his policies were for both candidates. We don't vote collectively as, on a logical and, on a logical level. We don't do that. We're busy focusing on emotion, and just bringing people in because they're black. And we got to look at Kamala's track record. How many brothers has she locked up when she was in California?
Were they criminals? Were they criminals that she locked up, or she locked up innocent
Some
people?
of them wasn't. Some of them wasn't.
Do you know that for sure?
From my research,
Okay. I'm just saying that because people go, well, she locked up all of them, but they was criminals. She was doing her job.
You guys,
No.
you guys have
exaggerated.
Okay.
All right, let me say
Okay.
this.
But it sounds to me like people trying to find excuses
Yes,
not to
not
vote
to
for her.
vote.
And I don't think that that's
I
right.
don't get it.
Listen.
Stay home. Stay home. Go and join Donald Trump, brother.
I'm saying because if you don't vote for
Stay
him,
home.
he's going to win. It's plain and simple. It's mathematically impossible.
What did we lose if he wins?
Because we're gonna see the same thing we saw before.
He wins.
We're gonna see the same thing we saw before.
Okay, brother,
You're
okay.
going to see the same thing. What did you get the past 4 years under Joe Biden and the Democratic Party?
Well, one thing,
What did
Donald,
black America gain the past 4 years under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? Please tell me.
yeah, but Donald Trump
what?
is promising a whole lot of damage. He is promising a whole lot of damage.
We need to change. We need to,
Democratic Party plantation slavery is insane.
Dr. Omar, you have a lot of influence, and I think that I need to say this to you. What you do and the influence you have, I think we need you to really organize the black community and the black consciousness instead of just pointing out what we need to do, because pointing out is one thing and organizing really on the ground is another thing, and I think you are capable of helping us do that. How do you do that? How do you help us? We need you.
Well, let's give him a chance to think about it while we take a break. By producer, we gotta take a break. Maybe he'll let us know how we, not just him, it ain't his thing, how we all can organize. And I said one of the ways to organize is get out, organize, and let people say, if we come together collaboratively we can elect anybody we want. We're going to take a break and we'll come back after this brief break. We're having a very spirited conversation. In fact, was looking forward to this because we started this conversation, Dr. Umar, about you even last week when you weren't even here. Is my microphone open? Let me see. Was my microphone open? Okay. So we had this conversation last week. I think we had Phil Watson all the way in Florida called in and was saying, I'm with the Dr. Umar Johnson School about Kamala Harris, and she's locked up all those people. But I was just in the hallway, and some people were saying, well, somebody's going to win. If we don't vote, somebody's going to win. And I know you say, why just give your vote away? But
we win.
Okay.
Do we win? I don't care who wins. Do we win?
But
do black people win by voting?
I don't
care if Kamala Harris wins. I don't care if Donald Trump wins. Do we win? That's the only thing I'm caring about. Do black people win by voting for either candidate?
Dr. Umar, who do you think that you can actually bring to the table to talk to today if you have the opportunity to engage one of them? Who do you think you can engage, and who do you think, based on what you know about them, will at least give you an audience?
Okay. First of all, and here we go again, I think we approach politics too much from a personal preference standpoint. Elections are business, and it is the business of choosing who you want to carry on the business of the country.
That's a question I just asked you.
Business of oppression.
Let her finish. Okay.
Hold on. And the business of liberation. So when you say which one, it's not about which one. You meet with both of them. I don't have any loyalty to Kamala Harris. I don't have any loyalty to Donald Trump. They not my friends. Both of them have been in the White House for 4 years, and neither one of them did anything for black people. So this ain't got nothing to do with personal preference. This is business. We have to learn to take our emotions out of this. This is not emotional. We must engage in non-emotional strategic thinking. Let me say that again. Non-emotional strategic thinking, not emotional politics and identity politics. I want to meet with both of them. Both of them. We just had a situation in Chicago where 3 sisters representing the National
Association of Black
Journalists met with Donald Trump. It was an absolute failure. It was an absolute failure. Those sisters were emotional. That whole conversation was more about protecting Kamala Harris than really asking him critical questions. I didn't hear nothing about mass incarceration. I didn't hear nothing about miseducation. I didn't hear nothing about reparations. What I saw was 3 emotional black women who are going out of their way to try to humiliate the former president in order to endorse the current vice president. That's not what you do. We all know what Donald Trump believes. We already know what Donald Trump feels. Ask him about the issues that matter to black people. They did not do that. They were emotional. We will get nothing from either party if we keep on engaging in emotional identity politics.
I'm really glad that you had me on here. I was cautious, but I say, you have a very strong voice, like Patrick said. You're very influential. As a matter of fact, that is why I say doesn't matter to me whether I agree with you or not. Whether you agree with me, I don't care. We can be disagreeable. I'm gonna still love you as a very influential brother. And I've known
of course.
And I've known you since I remember when you and Tyson Price was just coming up, and I said these brothers got a lot to say, and I still to this day want to hear what you got to say, and I don't care if I agree with you or not. But we have a call on the phone line from Germany. We have Rick wants to chime in on the conversation.
How you doing, fellas?
Good.
Good day, Dr. Umar.
Peace and love.
I got a simple question for you. Did Kamala Harris sponsor or help put together an anti-lynching law while she was a senator?
The first anti-lynching bill in American history that was approved by the federal government was passed a few months ago while Kamala Harris was the vice president. There was no anti-lynching bill in American history that existed before that one got passed. So if you're saying, did she, get us an anti-lynching bill while she was whatever she was before she came to the White House? Absolutely not. We just got the first anti-lynching bill in history of this country, which is weak, very soft, doesn't really hold anybody accountable, and we got that a few months ago under President Biden and Vice President Harris.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rick, for tuning in. So now, I know that you say we should not be concerned necessarily about who wins, but somebody's going to win. And if you listen to Donald Trump, he intends to do a whole lot of damage, especially to black folks. And that's why I said, well, maybe she will. But at least she ain't telling us what she's going to do, so we should believe him and not.
Did you see the picture, Baba David, that Kamala Harris tweeted from her Twitter account a couple months ago, where she said, President Biden and I are absolutely committed to promoting minority businesses? And she had about 10 or so people in the picture. This is a tweet from her account a couple months ago. I'm going to text you the picture.
Okay.
And she said, the president and I are absolutely committed to supporting minority businesses, right? Something to that effect. And guess what, Baba? There was about 10 people in the picture. Not a single black person in this picture of minority businesses. She already told you she ain't thinking about no black folks. She been told us over and over and over again. She not thinking about you. Yes, she's going to bring back diversity, equity, and inclusion. But she's going to bring it back for her East Indian people. She's going to bring it back for Latinos. She's going to bring it back for homosexuals, for Chinese, for Asian.
I disagree with you, Dr. Umar. This is the first time I will disagree with you. This is what I want to say, Dr. Umar. I was talking to somebody yesterday in Delaware, right? They have a lot of these small business loans in Delaware. And a lot of the minorities in Delaware could not benefit from that loan. But I know that they have the same in Philadelphia here, and I know that many people from Philadelphia area who are minority business owners, at least, are beneficiaries of those loans. So what I'm trying to say is that, see, when the federal government sends such monies to the local governments, it's about us, those at the local level, really making sure that those monies go to where they belong to. So yes,
about freaking businesses.
So we talking about
minority black African businesses.
Yes, but the thing is that this is a presidential election. But the issue too is that what are we, the local governments, actually local leaders, doing to make sure that when we get those monies, we're actually sending those monies to where they belong to?
I don't know.
Are you aware minority anything that's not black? Are you aware that minority includes anything that's?
Oh yes, yes. It's not only about color.
Women.
I know it's not only about color. Mm-hmm. Yes, I know that it's not only about color. It's about the
other than white.
Yes, yeah. So it could be anybody.
Are you aware of that?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
When you say minority businesses, right? Do you realize that they can give support to minority businesses and not a single black person gets anything? You do realize that, right?
Yes,
for sure.
It's happening.
We need to qualify our demands as American African people, not as minorities. Stop letting Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and the Democratic machine lump us in with all non-white people, because those other non-white people cannot stand black people any more than Caucasians. We are not minorities. We are not people of color. We are the American Africans who built this country, and we should be treated as a separate, unique, and distinct group of people as they do when they deal with Native American affairs. Ask Kamala Harris, is she going to create a department of American African affairs? Ask her that. If she says she will, I might vote for her. Tell her to create a presidential cabinet level position for American African affairs with a federal director whose job is to look after the best interest of the American African people. Ask her if she's willing to do that. I promise you she won't.
Well, you know what? I agree with most of the things that you say, but I don't hear you saying ask Donald Trump nothing. You say, you keep saying,
No, the same thing, Robert, the same thing.
You saying now it's the same thing, but in your presentation, it seems to be anti-Kamala.
Both ways. No, sir, that is incorrect.
Okay, and I agree.
Ask both of them. But most black people are not thinking about Donald Trump. They're thinking about voting for Kamala Harris.
But what I hear is,
get the questions.
But what I hear is in fact, we have somebody that always said that Dr. Umar is just a black female basher. And I said, that definitely is not true. He is uphold the integrity of black women. That's just I've known them.
She identifies as black. I can show you 5 interviews of Kamala Harris being called South Asian, and
what would you consider?
She doesn't once correct an interview.
What do you consider?
I'm not only South Asian, I'm also Jamaican African or Jamaican American or American African. She is a proud Southeast Indian woman. She has a right to be a proud Southeast Indian woman, and nobody's going to manipulate my emotions or my consciousness to vote for a black woman who's only black when it benefits her. And I'm not voting for Donald Trump either, because he ain't got nothing on my plate. How you going to pass a Hispanic Prosperity Initiative at the end of the George Floyd protest? That was the insult to every American African. Donald Trump executed approximately 13 people while he was president of these United States. It was the most federal death warrants signed since slavery, and 5 of them were black men whose death warrants Donald Trump signed in the final days of his presidency, after Joe Biden was already elected but had not yet been sworn in. That white man killed black men, 2 of whom were thought to be innocent, and their lawyers were trying to get a stay of execution from the Supreme Court, but it got denied, and Donald Trump signed those black men's life away. So I'm no more for him or her. I'm for black liberation. I'm for black justice. I'm for black equality.
I have a
and
question for
nobody
you.
from the Democratic Party,
we gotta take a break.
plantation slave regime, is going to make Dr. Umar vote for anybody until you show me what they're going to do for my people.
I have a suggestion for you.
But Patrick, you got to hold on, Patrick. We got to take a break.
Yeah, I got a
Come back.
suggestion for you.
We got to take a break, and I have some questions.
I got a suggestion for Dr.
All
Umar.
right, but we're going to take a break, and we come right back. And we're back live here in the studios of 96.1 FM. I'm going to have to call security up in here because it's getting heated up in here. Dr. Umar, they trying to bash you up in here, but I ain't going for that. I don't go for that. That's my man. Y'all can bash him all you want. Talk about what he do. He do a lot. Matter of fact, he's going to tell us right now how the school is coming along. Can you hear me, Doctor?
Oh, you need Frederick Douglass Market Academy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you hear me, Bob?
Answer loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So we have about 1 or 2 coats of paint that are still necessary on the walls of the classrooms. Once that's done, we have 11 rooms. About 6 of them need tile, and 5 of them need carpet. And with that being said, Baba David, if there's anyone listening to this conversation right now who either lays tile or carpet or knows someone who lays tile or carpet, please text my phone. I have had some brothers come by and give me some estimates, but I'm looking for a better price because, we don't have a lot of money. So, I'm looking for somebody who will work with us a little bit and not just make it all about capitalism. But if you know someone who can help us out, some of the rooms are really small too, Baba David. These are not all big rooms. Some of the rooms you can probably finish up in like 45 minutes. Some are small, some are big. So if anybody knows anyone who wants to make a couple dollars laying tile or carpet, please text my phone, 215-989-9858. Again, that's 215-989-9858. I'm even open, Baba David, to somebody showing me how to do the tile, get me started, and I can just finish up. You know what I mean? Even if they say, I ain't got the time, Doc, but I'll get you started and show you how to lay the tile yourself, because it ain't that difficult, but I've never done it before, so I need to get it right.
YouTube tutorial.
But if somebody just wants to come in and show me how to do, I'll do it myself.
Yes, indeed. I do a lot of stuff around. I go to YouTube tutorials, and I get a lot of stuff done. Patrick, you say you had a question?
Oh yeah. I wanna have a suggestion for Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar, I've always have a lot of respect for you and your influence. Can we actually have a movement? Because I think that with you and with your background, with all your experience, and with your influence in the African community, if we have a movement led by you, we will really create a great platform politically and socially to really, that will benefit our community. Can we have a movement?
We got a movement. He has a movement going on right now. It's called the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. How much more can you move to try to move our young people into themselves? See, people, what he does, I say he raised consciousness. That's what he does. We have Phil. It's Phil calling in from Florida. Hey, Phil, how you doing today?
Hey, Brother Dave, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good and wonderful.
Good afternoon, Brother Omar.
Appreciate you, Bob.
Here?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, listen, Omar. I got on the show yesterday, and I'm a part of David Bourne's crew with Health and Wellness, and I just want to just tell you that you brought up a very good point, because our propensity as black people to be so emotional during this election, I feel like we're wasting time. And one thing blacks don't do is that you mentioned, and I concur with you 100%, is take the emotion out, be still, try to understand the political system, and look at the economy of our people, and make sure that these people are interested in our people. And if you realize that they're not interested with our people, we need to put energy into other areas. And I explained it today, the last time I called in, but I just want to thank you for your commitment, your understanding, your education, and your journey, which most black people don't have a journey. They just very, very emotional, and they don't understand this political system that we're in, that it was never designed for us, but trying to fight through it and trying to make sure that they recognize us and uplift our, and that we uplift ourselves is really the task at hand. So I just want to thank you for the energy and your school and all the things you're doing, brother.
Thank you so much, Phil. And you can all listen out for Phil Washington the 5th Sunday of every month here at New World View. Dr. Johnson, I had a question. So now, if we don't organize in this next 3 months, am I to understand you saying that all black people need to not vote?
I would never tell a black person not to vote, and I never have told a black person not to vote. Because you do no harm by voting, but you do a groundswell of good by organizing and voting together as a single community. Mm-hmm. So black people are going to do what we've done the past 14 presidential elections. We're going to go out and vote our heart and vote our minds and vote our emotions. And whoever gets in office will not have to be accountable to us, because we did not require them to be so before we cast out.
I agree. Wow, we can't do this in 3 months. You say all things are possible.
You're supposed to have
I agree with that. But still, we need to organize long before the election and make specific demands. And then I think we will be stronger.
I absolutely agree. But here's the thing. The reason this is such a hot topic right now is President Biden did something that I don't think he withdrew his candidacy as president of the United States for a second term just before the Democratic National Convention and only a few months before the next presidential election. We haven't seen that happen in our lifetime, and it may have been the first time it happened at all. Most black people were absolutely disinterested in the next election when their options were limited to former President Trump and current, justifiably so, because neither one of those Caucasians did anything for black people with their 4 years. But when Kamala Harris decided to run, when Joe Biden gave her his blessing, when the Democratic National Committee said that she was likely to be their nominee, when black people and white people and so-called people of color raised millions of dollars for her overnight, black people were energized to once again get interested in the election because she's a woman and she's often misrepresented as a black woman. And so that's why black people are interested now, Baba, because all of this happened within the past 2 to 3 weeks. Black people would not be this excited about this election if it was still Trump or Biden. And the reason the Democrats went with Kamala Harris and not a Democrat, because there's other qualified Democrats, they went with Kamala Harris because there were 10 million more women, regardless of race. There were 10 million more women in America registered to vote than men during the last midterm. So the Democrats are hoping that Kamala Harris, being a woman and being black and being so-called person of color, that she will be able to attract to the Democratic Party the lion's share of those 10 million women who outnumber men in the next election. That's why they're putting her out front.
Yeah, we have Cynthia on the phone line, but before we go to Cynthia, I want to reiterate again that you appear to have a lot of negative things to say about Kamala, but I don't hear you saying a lot of negative things about Donald Trump.
We can talk about Trump if you want.
I don't want to talk negatively about anybody.
No, but what I'm saying is, listen, I'm a Pan-Africanist. I'm not loyal to no Caucasians or East Indians. I'm loyal to African liberation. So if you want to talk about Trump, let's talk about Trump. But nobody's going to sit here and act like I'm a Trumper or a Trump loyalist. I'm not voting for him, and I just gave you 2 big reasons why. But I am not going to endorse this woman just because she claims to be black when it benefits her. I'm not doing it. And it's
all right, well, let's talk to Cynthia on the
because
phone.
Of her identity.
Good afternoon, Cynthia.
Well, good afternoon. Peace and blessings.
It's about her not having nothing on the table to be black.
Dr. Umar, we have somebody on the phone.
Bring it up.
Yes, we have somebody on the phone, Dr. Umar.
Yes.
I'm almost forgetting what I wanted to ask.
Right.
I've been on here so long. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Umar, I heard you say that we need to listen to both Kamala and Trump. I don't want to listen to Trump no more. I don't want to hear anything he says because I know who he is. We don't need to keep listening to him. Okay? We
and why
know
should we
what
listen
he's
to her?
to do.
And we're listening to her why, my sister? We're listening to Kamala Harris
But
why? I
let me
understand you don't want to listen to Trump. Why should we listen to her?
No, you won't let me finish.
I'm asking a question. Why should we listen to her?
I want to finish. I need no more information about Trump. Anyone that wants to uphold him and vote for him, they're foolish. Kamala Harris, I'm choosing her because of some positive things she has done. Now, it's not 100%.
Like what?
It's not 100%.
Like what?
A few things. I mean, I'm not here on the phone to do that. But
what has she done for black
me? I gotta listen to Trump.
people? You said she's done some things. Well, you ain't gave me an answer yet.
I apologize, Cynthia. He's coming kind of hard on you, but and I think you seem to be so negative towards Kamala, but you sweet. You're trying to be sweet to Donald Trump. I don't understand that. It seems like you're being anti-black.
I'm being anti-black by not voting for a woman who's anti-black. Please explain that.
I don't know how you can say that she's anti-black
by not voting for a woman who's anti-black. Please.
I don't know. I ain't seen her being anti-black.
Why? How is she anti-black, though, Dr. Umar?
Because she sat in an interview. It's all over YouTube. I'll send you the clip where she was asked what was she going to do for black people when she got elected.
They all say that. Every mayor we've had in Philadelphia said the same thing. I'm not the mayor of black Philadelphia. John Street said it. All of them say it. Barack Obama says the same thing.
She said we're not going to do anything. She said we're not going to do anything just for black people.
That's true.
Those are her exact words. Her exact words. I am quoting her. We are not going to do anything just for black people.
That is so. It looks like she was talking. I mean, see, Dr. Umar, you were talking about not as being emotional, but it looks like
You're defending
really
white
emotional,
supremacy.
don't
I
it?
just want y'all to be clear. You're defending white supremacy, and you ain't giving me one reason why we should vote for her yet.
Or him.
Neither one of you have given me a single reason why black people should vote for Kamala Harris. You
Or
want them to
Donald
vote,
Trump.
but you ain't got a reason for this.
But you don't say that. You don't say either
that's
or.
why
You
we
say
never
keep
get
talking
nowhere.
about, we got Wes on the phone line from Southwest Philadelphia. Good afternoon, Wes. Wes said he ain't in this mess.
Can you hear me? Good afternoon.
Yes, I hear
I
you.
can hear you.
Okay, I wanted to direct my comments specifically to Dr. Umar, if
Yes.
I may. And Dr. Umar, as a black man who lives here in Philadelphia, I am an elder, and I simply want to say to you, I appreciate the fact that you speak, act, and walk as a black man, and that you do so unapologetically, because there seems to be a concerted effort across the country right now to force black men to stand in line, to get in line, and to sort of get on board with everything we're being told. You're asking them, they're not reality right in our faces as we're being deprioritized. Oh boy, you're being devalued, and you're being pushed aside by other people who have not made similar contributions to the United States. They're being given things in your face. So thank you for standing up. That we
All right,
don't have to-
thank you, Wes, so much for that. We got somebody else on the
Thank you,
phone
Elder.
line?
Thank you.
Nicholas? Okay, who we got on the phone line? Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon.
What's your first name? Where you calling from?
My name is Mary, and I'm calling from Jersey.
Hey, Jersey.
And I'm sick of listening to Umar. Umar, let's talk. Okay? First and
As
foremost.
Dr. Umar, Sister Dr. Umar.
Well, then act like a doctor and stop criticizing everybody. Bottom line, people who
Emotions, non-emotional strategic thinking.
Sister. Hater. You are a black woman.
We're emotional, my sister. We can't win being emotional.
Dude, you criticize everybody. I ain't never seen you do anything for black people.
Hey, we're not going to attack our guests either.
Calm down, my beautiful African sister.
All right, caller from New Jersey. We
you.
got your point. Thank you so
Calm
much.
down, Queen.
Because, you know, I don't want nobody attacking our guests. It's like I don't want nobody attacking our callers. And you have seemed to be mighty emotional yourself today, Dr. Umar. We all are, because this is a very touchy situation. We see it differently.
Passion. I am
Passion.
passionate.
See, Dr. Umar is using semantics now. You are using semantics now. You are passionate.
He ain't emotional. He's passionate.
Yeah, when black people say something about somebody, they're emotional, but you are passionate about it. Thank you. We love you too, Dr. Umar.
But you know, we needed this conversation because I want people to understand that. Again, I want to be clear. What is this person still on the phone? But I'm still clear. I want to make it clear. So if every black person stayed home and didn't vote, and you say, well, it won't make no difference in the end. But what if it does make a difference? What if Donald Trump gets in there and does a tremendous disservice to black people? Then what? You say, oh, we should have came out and voted.
No, I wouldn't have. Because guess what? What we fail to realize is when it comes to black people in America, the Democratic and Republican agenda for the American Negro is absolutely 100% identically the same. It don't matter who wins. You're going to catch the same hell regardless because we don't carry on our politics in a non-emotional, professional, and organized manner. They don't have to take us seriously because we are disorganized. So I don't care who vote for. You're getting nothing because you did not vote as a single unit.
Okay, let me ask you this.
So,
you remember the Affordable Care Act with that Barack Obama presented? Did that help black people? Dr. Umar, you still here with us?
It's frozen
That's what
now.
I'm saying. So the Affordable Care Act that they called Obamacare, I think that benefited black people a lot.
Like, first of all, affordable care, affordable care, affordable care. Affordable care was for Americans. It was not for the black community. Stop
I
it.
didn't say it was for them.
Stop
I say
it.
it
Barack
benefited them.
Obama's gay laws were for gay people.
We got black
Barack
gays.
Obama's gay laws were for gay people.
They
The
got black
Affordable
gays.
Care
It
Act
benefits
was for
the black
everybody.
gays.
Stop it. Huh?
Okay, just like it benefit black gays, it benefit black citizens of the Affordable Care Act.
How did somebody who's not homosexual benefit from Barack Obama's homosexual laws?
I didn't say I said it benefited the black homosexuals.
Okay, but it didn't benefit. You are really.
No, Dr. Omar, Dr. Omar, there are benefits that we get from every law that are sometimes not directly. If we're talking about law that protect anybody, any law that protects anybody in this country, it might not benefit you directly, but it will benefit you indirectly because the law is to protect people who are really suffering as a result of whatever they are. And so any law that protects anybody in this country, we're talking about protection. If it does protect them, then we all benefit from it indirectly.
Well, so Dr. Johnson, so what do you suggest we do then as a mass of black people?
If we're not going to get organized in strength to prepare for this election and get some demands and have some meetings with both candidates, and I believe 3 months is more than enough time to do that. But if we feel that we can't, let's organize for the next presidential election because it'll be here in 4 years. Time is.
Okay, but if we don't get together in these 3 months, then what should black people do?
Our lives are moving quicker and vote when they have nothing to vote for is insanity.
So I ask you, so what should black people do then?
Get organized to hold them accountable prior to November the 5th, or get organized to hold them accountable prior to November the 5th, 2028. Whether
I
we get organized,
I agree with that. But I'm saying if they don't get organized by this November, what should black people do?
Vote for Kamala and
No, I'm asking
Democrats.
Dr. Johnson. If black people don't get organized by this November, what should black people do?
Let me give you a real quick future.
Vote for blue.
We don't get organized for this election. The next election, black people will be completely irrelevant and they won't even discuss you.
Oh, wow. Some say that if he gets elected, there won't be no more elections. How about that?
You still ain't gave me a reason why we need to vote Kamala Harris.
You didn't give me
Why
an
should we
answer.
vote
I asked you, if we don't
Can
get
one of my
organized by
brothers-
November of this year,
Can
what
one
should
of you
black people
get a
do?
straight answer? Can I
You can't
please get a straight answer?
I'm asking you for a straight
should we
answer.
vote for Kamala Harris?
You sound like a politician now, man. I asked
No,
you a
sir, I'm a
question.
Pan-Africanist. I will never hold on.
Okay, but I asked you, if we don't get organized by November, what should black people do?
There's no other option, Baba David. We don't have options. Organize or die. That's options. Organize or die.
It's
There will
commit
be more
suicide,
so
right?
than that. Organize or die. That's your options right there. Organize or die.
So the focus is more on the black people to organize themselves than the candidates, right?
Of course, my brother.
Yes.
Self-determination.
There you go.
Candidates don't want you organized.
There you go.
Nobody
That's true.
wants organized black vote. Listen to me,
That's right.
fellas.
And that's
Nobody
why I
wants
said-
an organized black vote because an
That's-
organized black vote can hold candidates accountable. They don't want us to get organized. Y'all can't see that? They don't want
Right.
you to get
I
organized.
can see my producer tell me we gotta take a
Voting the
break.
way it's been voted.
I gotta take a break. And when we come back, we're gonna continue the conversation in the studio with Dr. Umar Ifatu St. John. All right, we'll be right back.
And we're back live here in the studios of 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live worldwide at WURDradio.com. I don't have my other phone in here with me right now to give a shout out to all those people that's listening to us on Facebook Live and on WURD TV. I know Patrick, he may have some that he want to acknowledge.
Yes, I do have them here. I have let me see, Rashad Bey, and I have Diana Montag. Who else? Who else do we have here? Gary Bryan is there. Tamika Johnson is also listening. Who else do we have? Joanne Kemp is also online. We do also have, who is also new here, Lily Ares. She has been there so many times.
Every week, and I love it.
Yeah, Mimi G is there today. Norma.
Well, we gotta get back to the show. We'll give some more shout outs later. Let me see. Where was I going to go? We got Dwayne on the phone in Southwest Philadelphia. Good afternoon, Dwayne. How you doing today?
Oh, you know, I'm with the doctor 100%. None of them, Trump or the vice president, is not going to do nothing for us.
Okay.
So I think what he's doing, the vice president is doing, putting on all this tomorrow to come in our community, act like they're going to do something for us, but they're not going to do nothing for us.
Okay.
That's why I'm not voting for none of them. I'm not voting for Trump. I'm not voting for vice president. I'm not going to be voting, just be voting.
Okay.
So I think what we should do, still worrying about, oh, she's going to be the first black woman president. I think we should be holding her accountable. So we don't hold people accountable. That's all I hear all day long. Oh, it's going to be our first black woman president.
So, Dwayne, if you could imagine, how many registered African Americans are there in America? Do you have any idea?
Oh, no, I don't.
I mean, just a ballpark figure in the millions. How many would you say is registered African Americans?
Oh, I think it's a billion.
Billions?
Millions. How many millions I'll say?
How many billions of citizens we got here in America? I don't even know. But the point I'm trying to make is, let's say we had 7 million registered voters, black voters. And so you said we shouldn't even vote. So if 7 million of us don't vote, who going to win?
That's our voice right there.
I didn't tell nobody not to vote.
Well, you said you ain't vote for either one.
Yeah.
And you suggested none of us vote for either one. No, and that's what I'm trying to tie Dr. Umar Johnson down to. He won't commit to saying that, well, black people should just not vote. I want to know.
And that means, that means that we just sit down and ask people to do the work for us. We're not organizing ourselves. We don't have a platform. Okay, if you guys want us to really do this, we need to organize ourselves and have a platform so that when we ask people to actually do whatever we want, we have a platform. If we don't, we can just sit down there and say, oh, we're not voting. We're not doing anything. We're not organizing anything.
That makes no sense.
No.
So what happened? Is Dr. Johnson still on the line? I don't see. He gone? Anyhow, we'd love to have him. I don't care what he's talking about. I don't care what he's talking about. I'll talk about it. We'd love to have him anytime he's on our show. We honor Dr. Umar Ifatunde Johnson. As a matter of fact, at 1:30 we have Yanina Carter is supposed to call in. I hope that she's listening and call in and talk to us about a Philly B411. But let me see, do we have somebody else on the phone line, Patrick? They may want to talk about Dr. Johnson, even though he may not be on the phone line with us. So I think he had to go do some painting or something. I'm only kidding, man. That's my brother. I don't care what y'all say. That's my brother from a long time.
He's a busy guy. I like him.
I love him, man. I don't care what nobody say. But I think we got a caller on the phone line. I'm not sure exactly who that's going to be. Spread love. Ain't heard from you in a minute. Spread love. Where you at, man?
Hopefully in the right place. Give y'all thanks and praise and y'all love and respect. Brother Dave, how you making now?
I am good and wonderful.
Okay, give y'all glory. Brother Patrick, ate this salmon, yeah. What in there?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. English only.
Why? I thought we been African.
I know, I'm only kidding. That's what the restaurant said down there, Gino's. English only.
Being Pan-African ain't no joke. That's not something I'm going to kid about. The kids are for goats.
So what's going on, Spread Love?
If I'm new, I'd probably be out of here.
Okay.
But I will say this real quick. I wanted to give some strength and love and respect to our brother Dr. Umar for holding up the flag and the banner and the fist to try to help our people uplift, which is the goal. And I want to give some love to our brother Nick on the boards, always doing an amazing job. You know, we spread love, thankfully, give God glory to the entire WRD family. We're always thankful and mindful, and our hearts are with everyone suffering right now. And everyone working on making it better. We're thankful. We're always with everyone incarcerated, especially all incarcerated falsely and unjustly. Free Mamiya, free us all. Brother Dave, I was hoping to get to speak with Dr. Umar if he does come back on, or if he's listening. I just wanted to volunteer in something that unfortunately I had to not resign myself to, but, you know, really realize that our people, and it's a shame, we behave so immaturely, it's so juvenile, with a bunch of systematic sensationalism. And I use the word systematic exactly as I see it. Addicted to the system. System addicts. It's like everybody drank the Kool-Aid, mad you ain't drinking it with them. And then when you say, well, that Kool-Aid got something that messing you up, now they want to ridicule and mock that individual as opposed to reconsider what they just done did. Even today, unfortunately, I hear people coming at Dr. Umar. What he's saying has a lot of merit.
It does.
But people, it's a shame how we do that to each other.
But it's not the only way. That's not the only. I agree. What he's saying makes a lot of sense, but it's not the only way. I mentioned this last week. We could walk and chew gum at the same time. We could organize and still participate in the electoral process. By registering and voting, we gain numbers, and the more numbers we have, the more we can hold our politicians accountable. If we don't have the numbers, the politicians say, well, why should I give you any resources? You don't even vote for me. You know, I got these white people over here voting for me, and that's why I'm going to give them the resources. That's what makes sense, and that's why I said we have to organize so that we can demand more, but we have to at least be in the game. We cannot be out of the game and then somebody, whoa, I don't like what they did. Well, you ain't participate.
Brother Dave, can I volunteer something if it's all right?
Sure.
And I thank you so very much. What if it ain't no game?
Oh, it's a game.
Oh, no, we got people who are players.
Yes.
Playing themselves and us at the same time. But what if it ain't no game? What if, you know, like when we was on the plantation, they're going to vote for who's going to be master? The ones who had sense was like, no, we're getting out of here. And we're running over everything that's in our way. So where's that in the conversation? Now, how about let's get our own so we ain't got to worry about theirs or be affected by them? Because if we look at it, really, they live off us.
That's true.
And they have been living off us.
That is true.
So what they trick us into doing is making us think we can't live without them.
That is true.
So that's what I'm saying. Why don't we have some more of them conversations where we don't, you know, where we can be independent? For example, when you're living in your parents' house, you got to follow their rules. But once you can get on your own 2 feet, you see what I'm saying? It's a whole different ballgame. Then if your parents want to have the steps fixed, that really ain't affecting you greatly. You don't want to see them go down or get ripped off, but you got your own.
Well, I say, why don't we all pack up and go to Africa, then we will increase our strength in numbers.
If that's a good option.
That's right.
Somewhere where we can be independent.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And that's what I mean. I don't hear no voice of independence. I hear everybody squawking about how to make dependence more tolerable. You know, so that's what I'm saying. No offense to nobody, but I think that aspect and facet of the conversation might do us better than arguing with each other over who's going to rule over us.
No, I think the whole point of this show is not to really see right and wrong. I think what we do here is to allow everybody to actually, air their opinions. I think this is the place where we talk about how you thinking. We want to assess how people are actually processing this election and how they're making decisions as to who is the best for them. So people should listen to everyone. I don't think Dr. Umar is wrong in totality. I don't think everybody else is wrong. It's just that we want to know how people are processing this election. And what are you thinking? How are you thinking? What are you trying to do? And what are your goals and aspirations? And what is the black platform? What is the black platform? What do we have? What can we black people say? This is exactly what we have, and this is what we expect from the candidates to do for us, so we can present it to them.
All right, we got Will calling all the way from Harlem. Good afternoon, Will. How you doing today?
Good afternoon, brother.
Yes.
Yeah, just a very good conversation. I just wanted to weigh in, on the benefits of voting and why it is meaningful. And I'm going to just lay my case, just a few examples. All right. Everybody remembers when Ronald Reagan got into office, right?
Yes.
And what did he do? He fired all the air traffic controllers.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, he taxed Social Security benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, he taxed unemployment benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And that, really hurt people on the bottom, which are usually black people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you got Donald Trump coming into office, right? He wants to get rid of your benefits as far as health care
Mm-hmm.
and also your benefits from when you retire from work.
Yeah.
So if you're at that age where you're about to get your, Social Security retirement money, that might be gone, depending on who's in power. So, there are, benefits and consequences, whoever is in power.
How'd you hear about us all the way up there in Harlem?
Oh, well, I'm always tuned into black radio.
Okay.
So, I always listen to, various different black stations across America. So,
That's
I tune in on a regular basis.
So do you enjoy our station?
So, I enjoy it very much. Very much so.
Great. Well, I want you to
That's
tune
why
in.
I have to silent, just offer my opinion, sir.
Yes, I really appreciate your opinion. That's what it's all about. It's a conversation, back and forth. It's a dialogue, not a monologue. So we're going to go to Gene in Virginia. Good afternoon, Gene.
Yeah, man, I want to talk about like Umar's his rants about organizing, organize or die. I mean, that's stuff, I understand it, but right now this is war. It ain't no Switzerland in a war. It's not that I'm voting for Kamala Harris so much. I'm voting against Trump and Project 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all do with 2025?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a senior citizen. I don't want my Medicare being messed with and other stuff, that's not pertaining to mess with. This is war.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's war on so many fronts. We as black people have constantly been at war ever since we got here on these shores, and the war has not changed. It's just the game has changed. Every time we learn the rules, they change the game all over again. But the thing is, there's strength in numbers. As I mentioned last week, Philadelphia at one time was the majority African American. I think we had like 45% of the population. You would think that with that amount of population, we could elect and have the things that we want as citizens. But the turnout was so low that even though we were 45% of the population, 13% of the registered voters came out and voted in the election, in a mayoral election. How are you going to win something with 13% of the people? But now, if we'd have came out with 60% of the people, then we could have made some demands on whoever we wanted to go into office. It just mathematically makes sense. But if you don't participate, what can you expect to get out of it?
I have a suggestion for my fellow.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you. My fellow black men, I came to your house today to talk to you. If you guys want to have a dialogue, listening to Donald Trump when he was in power and listening to him right now, he doesn't even make any sense for me to go back and cast my vote. It looks like we have forgotten so soon, too soon, who that man was when he was in the White House.
Oh, give him another chance.
Oh, please.
He ain't done yet.
Please.
He ain't done yet. He got plenty more he could do for you.
So if any black man, any black woman is even questioning who to vote for, I better vote for the devil that I know in the Democrats than vote for Donald Trump. He has taken away all women's rights at this point. If women were not, resilient enough, they would have been crying by now. So if anybody think about voting for Donald Trump, then I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, women were part of that 13% of the electoral turnout as well. You know, women got to come out and vote. Black women got to come out and vote too. They think that, well, and because they believe, they drink that Kool-Aid, talk about, I don't come out and vote for nobody, I ain't gonna do you no good, and they buy that stuff. Man, I think that's part of the system's propaganda to try to get you to stay home and not come out and vote. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation here at New Worldview Sunday School. We'll be right back. We're back live here in the studios of 96.1 FM. We had such a very spirited conversation with Dr. Umar Tunde Johnson. I guess he had to make a run, but we were glad to have him for the time that we did. I think we have another caller on the phone line. Who is that? Brown in Southwest Philadelphia. Good afternoon, Brown. How you doing today?
Great, Barnes. How are you?
I am good and wonderful.
This is a very tiring conversation that you guys are having, but it's much needed. I'm glad you guys are having.
Yes, I do too.
But listen here, this is what we need to do, okay? We need to channel this energy positively towards Dr. Umar's complaint, and that is we need to organize around making demands. It's too late, yes, in this point of the game, but we got 3 months. 3 months to focus on the best candidate, get that person in, and 6 months after they're in, 1 year after they're in, if they have not accomplished 1, 2, 3, ABC, then we need to start working on getting somebody else for 28.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Keep up the good work.
That's very good. Thank you so much. Derek in North Philadelphia. How you doing today, Derek?
Good afternoon, brothers.
Yes, sir.
Peace, blessing, and prosperity with aspiration.
Yes.
I want to speak from a standpoint of view, Brother Umar Johnson. Right on, brother. You don't care if America stands or America falls. Most Pan-African people feel that way. They don't care. Well, I'm a brother. I'm a man who do care. And primarily, I base that on my ancestors. I consider myself an American African. My ancestor, I have a saying that I love Africa, but I'm in love with America. And I base that on my ancestry, the ones who survived the big ride over here in America as enslaved people and who survived. I'm a descendant from them. And so I'm here to represent what they represent for. I have the hope that they have. And I think that, yeah, we have a congressional Black Caucus. We have some leadership in place already that we just need to apply ourselves more to. And as one caller said earlier, if we had more, and as I believe you mentioned, if we had more people to come out to vote, that's how the system works. Mm-hmm. It's not just in America has grown to the point where I believe that it's not just about us anymore. It's about all of us who believe in the dream. And the people who, we understand, the people who wrote all men created equal, we know they weren't talking about us or other minorities. They weren't talking about us, but the ideal of such a profound statement, all created equal, is bigger than the men who wrote it. Mm-hmm. And through generations and descendants, this is actually a possibility that America could fulfill itself, where we all are treated equal. We all have opportunities for justice and to pursue happiness and all these good things. So I'm voting for Vice President Kamala Harris for the simple fact that I want the system to continue to take place. I don't want it to be eliminated, whereas we don't have a vote system.
Thank you.
Because I believe that the system can be fixed through the system, a mechanism of what voting is about, not just for Black people, but for all people.
Well, I for years, we've been taught that it's not our obligation to try to fix this system because the system was not designed for our benefit. But I say we are obligated to organize and get ourselves together. But in the process, we still should be able to participate in this system so that we can at least have some say. If you're not a participant, you don't have no leg to stand on. What could you say? We're going to go to Rosalind in North Philadelphia. Thank you. Rosalind, how you doing today?
Hey, good evening, my Wurd family, David Barnes, and
yes.
your guest.
I missed the whole show, but I'm telling you, I'm in the streets now. Again, I'm getting better. And they are talking even. We got white folks, Indians, everything. They're voting for Kamala Harris. I mean, even white men. So about changing the system and all that and going to Africa, this is Africa. If you take the concrete up and you take the tar up, you're in Africa. Our ancestors built this country. The thing is, yes, we do have to vote, but we have to also make sure that these people that we put in office do what they're supposed to do when it comes to these bills and supporting each other. We're all one. God created us as one. Why we got to go back to Africa when everybody is moving here? My family went to Georgia and everything. I did too. But this is my home. I've been around the horn and back again. Ain't nobody going to move me. You talk to your people on these streets and these corners. We're being generated out. I can't understand it that we don't love one another as one. When all this history is right here. I can't see it. I grew up on these streets, north, south, east, and west. I know them in the dark. You can change it all the way you want. This is our country. Why should we leave? Make the electoral officials do what they supposed to do. Like the brother just said, I'm for all people, not just one, because we got all nationalities in us. And the blue-eyed people only can make blue-eyed babies is 2 black people. So if you don't think you black, something wrong with you. Okay?
Thank you, Rosalind, so much for that. All right. Somebody else want to, Nicholas? Okay, well, let me tell you, this has been a very interesting conversation today. But before we go away, I do want to remind people, coming up at 2 o'clock at Penn's Landing at the Cherry Street Pier, right underneath the Benjamin Franklin Bridge, is the Econo Fest taking place today from 2 to 8 p.m. There's going to be a lot of African music, a lot of African food, a lot of African dancing. I would encourage everybody to get. I'm going to try to get down there. Me and Patrick, we're going to try to drive down there after we leave the show here. I'm glad it isn't raining yet. I'm in the room. I can't even see out the window. Okay, it hasn't started raining, so we're going to make it down there, maybe buy a few things and get back here for our 5 o'clock Afro Beats in My Heart segment. I think we have a special guest coming in at 5 o'clock from Delaware. We're going to talk about that when we get back. But Patrick, what do you think about the conversation today?
One of the best. It was heated, and the participation was very good, and I like the passion of Dr. Umar.
Not the emotion.
Not the emotion.
It's the passion. The passion part, not the emotion part.
But honestly, I do want people to think very critically when they vote. And I also want to request our people, our community, our black community, to get up. We've been sleeping too much. Let us get up and organize ourselves, because we don't have a platform. It's one thing talking about all the things we talk about right now, and it's another thing really having some leaders organize themselves and have something so that any time we want to present a platform, everybody in every corner can say this is our black platform, because we don't have one right now.
That is true. And I don't know, after 400 years, why we don't have one or maybe 2 platforms that everybody can get on. The only thing that I know, the only platform that I know that a lot of black people get on is WURD platform. People are on here leaps and bounds. But the thing is, we have different conversations going on. We have different people here telling different people what to do. And if everybody listened to me and you and Dr. Umar, we probably could progress quicker. But everybody has different ideas on how we should progress forward. So we should have a consensus agenda that we could all get on. And then that way, as I mentioned before, if somebody called and talked about the politicians doing something for their constituents, but they're not going to do anything except for the person that make a donation to the campaign and the people that vote for them. And if you got 20,000 people voting for them and 40,000 African Americans stay at home, who you think gonna win? You got to come out and vote. You got to be a participant. Otherwise, I don't even know how you can raise your hand to have anything to say about what's going on, because you had an opportunity to say what you want by your vote. That's your vote is your voice.
Definitely.
So, I don't know what else we can say. I'm glad that we had an opposing view. Opposing views are good sometimes so people could see the difference. We can see the difference in what Dr. Johnson was saying and what I, Patrick, and Mary from New Jersey was saying. So we just got to make a choice. And don't go for the propaganda. Don't believe the hype. Talk about stay home. That's part of their platform. They are trying every which kind of way not to get you to vote. They're trying to take the vote from you. If your vote wasn't so important, why they keep trying to take it from you? And one of the ways they take it from you is by telling you don't vote.
Yeah, I don't like the don't vote option at all. It's just that we're just gonna sit down and look at them do whatever they want to do. We don't care. No, we need to care. We need to vote.
That's right.
Voting is a power. Even if they don't represent your voice, go and vote for somebody at least.
That's why I asked the question. Is it just a presidential election that you say we shouldn't vote, or we shouldn't vote in any election? And if we don't vote in any election, you're going to have people making decisions for you, and you're going to have a thing to say about it. But if you participate, and if enough of us come out and participate, then we could have a whole lot to say about everything. Hey, my producers tell me that we got to wrap this up. I see Judge Thomasina Times is in the building. I got to move out the way so she can get in here and see what she has to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank you. So listen, everybody. Okay. So, Patrick, anything you want to say before I go away?
Yeah, we have our 5 o'clock coming up, so we're just waiting for our segment to start from 5 to 6. So, thank you guys all for listening, and welcome back next week.
Yes, and as I always say before I go away, if God is willing and you're able, I'll be ready again next week for another edition of New Worldview. And until then, peace.
And I know y'all don't want me to say this because today is Sunday. I know y'all don't want me to say this because today is Sunday and it's Father's Day. And right now, black churches all across America are celebrating black fathers. And to that, I say to the pastor, to the bishop, to the preacher, and to the clergy, with all due respect, on this Sunday, you all are full of shit. Forgive my language, but you're full of shit. You ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. How in the hell you collect $14 million every Sunday? How in the hell does the black church collect $14 million every Sunday and you ain't putting no black men to work, and you got the nerve to talk about you having a Father's Day celebration at church, you having a Father's Day breakfast at church, you having a Father's Day lunch at church, you having a Father's Day dinner at church? We want to celebrate all the fathers. We want all the fathers to come to church on Father's Day Sunday. You full of shit. How many of you giving out jobs to those unemployed black fathers in church today? How many of you pastors and bishops and trustees and clergy, how many of you are helping the fathers who came out to the Father's Day service today? How many of you are helping them get jobs? You're full of shit.